All right, welcome back, guys, to Surviving Hollywood. I'm Johnny Ray Diaz.
I am Aaron Arnold.
I am Austin Arnold.
And today we were joined by the illustrious and fantastic Southern boy himself, Mr. Ben Dukes, who is an actor, musician, and, dare I say, philanthropist?
Well, he's still with us.
Ah, yes.
Philanthropist. I pour pennies everywhere I go.
Sure.
So what can we expect from this episode? Because this was a really good one.
Well, Ben here is a big advocate for SAG-AFTRA.
Of course.
He ran for office
I did.
this year, and he's also an actor. He worked with Craig Ferguson. He's been on What If with Renee Zellweger.
Superior Donuts.
Superior Donuts, a sitcom. Sons of Anarchy.
Yep.
A lot of cool stuff right there. And he was also on tour and performed on Craig Ferguson, which is pretty awesome.
I did those things.
Yeah.
So we know him as an actor. That's how we met him. And then, so in the first 20 minutes of this podcast, we dive deep into SAG-AFTRA because he's not only on the committee, he has many ideas.
And he also talks about where our money's going and how we can get more money and more jobs, which is important to all of us, right?
I learned a lot.
So we transitioned from that into acting, into how we came up, and I think it was a really good episode.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Ben is a cool dude. Again, like you said, I met him in acting class, and he really breaks down the importance of being union and going solidarity, I guess, with the union, right?
Yeah, all about solidarity, man. It's a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys having me.
Ben, give us a call to action, then we'll roll right into the beginning.
Just a call to action?
Yes, right to the fans.
Check me out at Ben Dukes, Twitter and Instagram.
That was a plug. But
Yeah.
all right.
And also, thank you for the whiskey, by the way.
Enjoy the episode.
You're welcome. I thought that was what you meant.
And,
if you want to go back and redo it, I'll give you a different call to action.
Now presents
you guys want to redo it? I thought it was fine. I thought it was
Johnny Ray Diaz. Ha. Yeah. And the Arnold twins. Hollywood, Hollywood, Hollywood. Tell me what it's like to live in Hollywood. Hollywood, Hollywood, Hollywood. Tell me what it's like to live a life in Hollywood. I'ma survive. I'ma survive. I'ma survive. I'ma survive. Hollywood.
You just ran for the SAG board.
I did just run for local SAG board and did not get enough votes to make the board, but I got 1,400 votes.
It's pretty good, though.
Which for a guy that nobody knows who he is, that's not bad.
Do you advertise for that? Do you campaign for that?
It's weird, man. Like you do, but you don't. Like there's certain rules around what you can do, and I put a lot of stuff out on social media, right? Hey, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. But if you want to try to reach out to the rest of your union brothers and sisters out here in LA, it's going to cost you a lot of money to be able to send one email to be able to talk to people and tell you who you are. So they have a pamphlet that they put out that you're able to put a statement in. So I put a statement in, and did that. And then I was fortunate enough to have a couple of people who are in leadership that were having articles written about them or sending their own promotional things out that mentioned me as somebody that people should be interested in listening.
And what was the take? Why would people vote for you? What did they say about you?
Just that I have a new perspective, a fresh perspective on the way things are run, and that I have a mind that is focused forward towards the things that we need to be watching out for as technology changes and as the industry changes. And
Hey, this would have been a controversial slogan for your campaign. Ben Dukes is going to shake up the union with his Confederate mentality.
I imagine that would have been.
That'd have been great, man. I could see you just standing very heroically in like a Confederate flag just waving in the back.
I'm sure it would have been fantastic. Yeah, that would have sent me straight to the bottom. It would have been fantastic.
Polarizing.
Ben is very progressive, but he is from the South.
But any attention is good attention, yeah?
I don't know that that's accurate. I don't know that that's accurate.
So what were you standing for? Like, what were you hoping to change, and why did you decide to run?
Okay, so we all want better contracts, right? Well, why I decided to run is different from what I was standing on, right?
Okay.
I decided I wanted to be involved with governance and the way that the union runs by starting to go to meetings. I've been in SAG-AFTRA I've been in SAG since 2002 and SAG-AFTRA since they merged in 2012. And for the longest time, I never attended meetings. I never really paid attention because SAG was just this sort of amorphous thing above my head that, hey, that's, they negotiate for us. And
Were you part of AFTRA or?
I was just part of SAG.
Okay.
And then once we merged in 2012, SAG-AFTRA, right? That's what we are now. So
By the way, how much did it cost back then
when I first joined,
to join?
$17.50.
I hate pennies.
17. Oh, okay. I thought you mean like $17.50. I was like, whoa,
No,
That's expensive, dude.
$1,750. Yeah.
so about half.
Yeah,
what it is now.
little under half what it is now, I think.
Yeah.
It's 3,000 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 30 something.
A little over half.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I meant.
Cool.
But I started going to meetings and listening to people talk, and just my eyebrows started to raise a little bit about the way things have gone down and the way things have changed over the years, the way the contracts have changed.
Does
and-
SAG actually help, or are they just a bureaucracy-filled,
Aaron's just really
Like, here's the
wants
thing.
to attack him.
No, I just don't know. I'm part of the union.
You
and,
are.
And obviously, when I work a union gig, which is every gig I work now,
Good.
yeah, they
Solidarity, bro.
yeah. Why'd these guys laugh? But
The way you said it.
Yeah.
Let me fill you guys in on a little secret.
no,
They're
no.
all.
No, obviously, if you're in
union.
the union, that's the deal you make.
That's rule number one.
Yeah. But like,
Literally.
but then they're saying I can't work these other things. So then I kind of feel like, oh man, that's like I wish I could work these other things. Just
Do you?
I would just I
Sometimes.
would rather work than not work, right?
I understand that. I do. Now, let me ask just for a little clarification on your question of do they actually help versus are they just a bureaucracy?
I know I know it's not either or, but I'm just saying how much of it do they? I've been to the office, huge building. Do we need a building that big?
Interesting tidbit. Not our building.
Oh yeah.
We only have a couple floors.
Oh.
We
have
rent.
We have the sign.
We rent, which is interesting, but that's a talking point for parties in the union that I don't really care
probably
about.
need it though.
But yes, we do have to have a lot of staff. Okay, the staff fill a lot of different holes for us, doing a lot of different things. As far as you have negotiating staff, you have staff that are dealing with problems on set daily. You have staff that are helping with membership, that are helping with organization, that are helping with a large number of the issues that, to be honest, a bunch of actors don't want to try to sit around and do.
Right.
Right? We want to be acting. So we have a lot of staff that handle those things. They write the magazine. They publish the website. They publish all of the social media and all that. Staff's doing a lot of stuff for us that are essential pieces of union operation.
How does it need to get better then? What can we improve?
Okay, so a lot of people have grievances as far as how our contracts have evolved or not over the years. A lot of people might be surprised to find out, like for instance, a meal penalty, right? You go past your 6 hours without eating on a set,
Yeah.
and you go into that first half hour and you get a meal penalty.
I love it.
Do you know how much it is?
I don't know how much it is.
$25, and then
Better than
and
zero?
then $35 the next half hour. Right, it's better than zero, right? You
Yeah.
know what it was in 1960?
$4.
$25.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, obviously the purchasing power of the dollar is a lot less than 1960.
Well, it hasn't changed.
It
right?
hasn't changed. That's
exactly
the point,
the
right?
same, dude.
So
I'm saying the purchasing power, how much $1
I mean,
gets you.
inflation is not real.
So some people would find that interesting. Some people would say, "Man, it's a shame that hasn't evolved with even inflation, because if it had, then your meal penalty would be $200."
So back in the day, they were like, "Man, let me stack those meal penalties, man. That's my rent for the
Well,
month."
no, but perhaps production was a little more or a little less likely to push into one, which some people say, it's a few minutes after 6. Okay, fine. But if you look at every one of the things that labor has won over the years, with that perspective, then all you're going to do is set yourself up to be in a poor position.
And that's easy to change if people are for that. Like you could have, that's something you wanted to work on.
That's part of negotiations, right? And so if you look up and down our contract, our collective bargaining agreement, our codified basic agreement is what it's called, with film and TV, there are a number of things throughout there that are always going to be battles. You're going to sit down with the producers and you're going to say, "We want this," and they're going to say, "Okay, well, we don't want to give you that. So what are we going to do? How are we going to find our
Like what
boundary?"
specifically might that be?
Right.
Like what could that potentially be? Like a sit down and you saying like, oh, we want this, and they're like, no.
Well, that like we want to. Okay, so what we'd like to do is update our meal penalties from the 1960 rate to something that is more makes more sense for 2019. We need to bring this forward to 2019 dollars. Okay. Well, if you do that, they're going to sit there and they're going to look at all of the money that they spend on meal penalties, and they're going to multiply that times 8.5, which is pretty much what that is, and they're going to say, wow, we're going to be spending a whole lot more money. So if we're going to do that, now we're going to have to ask for something that the actors are going to give up. Okay. So maybe, they'll have to look around and figure out where another expenditure is that they're already spending money so they can recoup some of that loss when they make this.
But what else besides that issue? What else were you trying to?
I mean, that wasn't a specific issue. It's just negotiation. It's just I'm looking at it and going, man,
just an example.
It seems like people over the years, like the contracts have gone kind of squirrely in some areas, and in some areas they haven't. I mean, I think a lot of people know that the commercials contract has been a big source of contention for the last 6 years or so.
I remember that was a big thing
right.
for a while.
Right. And non-union production and all of that started happening. I think you guys have talked about that before. So this past year, we developed a new commercials contract that brought in new opportunities because instead of
the Green New Deal, I think it was.
Yeah. So great. No, it was the new commercials contract allows for some not buyout provisions, because that's not what it is, but it's more of an upfront pay that offers more flexibility on the part of the buyers so they can control their costs a little bit better than sort of the method that we had before. They go, we have this much money to spend for that. And you go, fantastic. For that amount of money, you'll get this many runs on networks. You'll get this long on the internet, et cetera, et cetera. And as you start to burn through those and use them up and go past, you're going to have to pay more money. That's the way it is.
Right.
That's part of what a union does, or part of what our union does to protect the actors. So yes, there are things that they are doing. Well, that came about because a lot of people like me and a lot of people who I know and talk to now and am dealing with in trying to move forward with our goals, sat down and started building matrices of how much, of how they could attack this problem of runaway non-union production. And they asked non-union producers, they asked the advertising agencies, what is it? Why is it so difficult to shoot union? They started to find out the cost basis was a big issue.
Expenses, that's the main thing.
Well, yeah. And the uncertainty of expenses. And so they wanted to create a structure in which they could have more certainty, and they did. And it's been widely well received.
So you've noticed, or SAG has noticed, an increase?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, we have companies, prior signatories who left the contract, who've come back to the contract. That right there tells you it was a success.
Are they worried they're going to be persecuted for going out, doing non-union, going against?
No. What? Oh, you mean the advertising companies?
Yeah.
No, I think that it was a thing of
we need them, right?
Always want to have the best talent.
Just checking.
And we hold that SAG-AFTRA is the best performing talent in the world. And so if you want access to it, you're going to have to be signatory. And if they said the only thing that was keeping us from doing it was the structure of the contract, and we made one that makes sense to them, that's a win-win. So now they're back, which is cool.
I have noticed a few more SAG spots, audition-wise at least.
Yeah.
Like yesterday I had one, but it was an industrial.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay. Like at least there's like more. But I know that under the new contract, the rates seem like they're a lot lower.
It depends. It depends on the specific contract, because there's basically, the way it's set up, there's different buckets, big layouts, and some, depending on where the spot's going to run, they just don't have as much money to be able to lay forth. But they go, okay, our budget is $5,000, our budget is $10,000, our budget is $20,000, whatever it is. They can then determine which one of those buckets their particular budget's going to fit into, and they can still have access to the talent. Which is cool.
Hollywood, I think you made a mistake by not voting this guy in.
But
maybe 2 years from now. Maybe 2 years from now.
Well, president by then.
Yeah.
So now, Ben, is it time for you to go ahead and address how you really feel about SAG and not them and not getting voted in? Go ahead.
Hot take.
Go ahead.
There's no hot take, man.
We'll wait.
I understand it. Nobody knows who I am, and I got 1,400 votes, which was amazing to me.
That is amazing. Because you're the new guy.
I am. I'm brand new. I've gotten up to speak at, I think, 3 different functions. So there's probably 100 people who've actually seen me get up and speak.
About to be 100 more after this
Hey,
podcast.
yo! 99, because one of them's me.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
It's still something, dude.
And my mom can't vote.
My mom will vote.
Yeah, but
well,
no.
what would have been the first order of business if you actually did win?
Oh, I mean, if I was on the board,
Yeah.
I have some ideas as far as our technology and things that we can do there. For me, what is the hardest thing? Let me ask you guys this. What do you wish that SAG-AFTRA did for you
Tell you right now.
more?
Tell you right now, if I was voted in to the office, first things first, vending machines on all the floors.
Thank you.
About time, man. About time, dude.
I like it.
For me,
Do you guys have a serious
Free
answer?
chocolate pudding at
Oh,
lunch.
dude, now you're crossing.
I have a serious answer in the fact that like I'm a simple guy. To me, it's nice to have the magazine. It's nice to have all that, but I guess just, I mean, simple protections of, you know, making sure that actors aren't taken advantage of, like the main job of any union. Other than that, what do I need? I don't know.
Okay.
I would say, real serious answer. I wish that they helped you find work.
Uh-huh.
That's the biggest thing.
99% of people, when you say, what do you wish the union did
'Cause,
for
like,
you, it's helped me find more jobs.
Typical unions across the country, like they usually will help the people a part of the union actually find employment.
Right.
But SAG doesn't do that. Like they give you
Correct.
tools. There's tools like you can take free classes and whatnot, but that doesn't necessarily help you solidify a job. I think that one thing I think would be really cool is so I'm a member of the TV Academy now, and they threw a mixer, but not with just actors. It was like producers, directors, writers, and then like it was cool to sit there and connect with people that can actually employ me. You know, because hanging out with a group of actors, I mean, what's that going to do? You know what I mean? It doesn't really, you know what I'm saying? They should
It
have more.
depends. It can do some things.
Great Instagram
You've had some great guests on here that you've talked to, that you've worked with, and you guys have worked with in the past that are now creating their own shows and doing their own things, and you
True.
guys will get a bit like opportunities because of that. So, I don't, you know.
I mean, it's good in a sense, but certain aspects of it. But like a lot of guests that were on here were I met from the TV Academy events. You know what I mean?
So let me say this. Rewind yourself back, however far it was, to the moment that you joined SAG-AFTRA. Okay.
Scared.
Now imagine if you're like a lot of actors, you went, you handed in that check or whatever, and they're like, thanks, and then you walked out the door and you're like, that was it, huh? And then you get this big packet. It's like, here's all the rules, and here's your card, and come to an orientation one day.
Yep, exactly.
So what if instead of that first month that you were in the union, you were invited to a brunch, and you went to that brunch, and at that brunch there were a couple of celebrity actors, and there were a couple of casting directors, and there were a couple of celebrity directors, and there were a couple of big name writers and show creators, and all that the entire brunch was there to do is to welcome all of the new actors from that month into the union. And say, hey, we're celebrating you. We're glad you're here. Here are some people and that you can meet and talk to today, start to forge relationships with, and sit down and talk to and eat with and break bread and have conversations.
They're eating at our tables.
Yes. It's not a dais.
Okay, that's I was imagining a dais.
No, it's not a dais. They're there, and there's
Full crafty
10,
setup.
there's 10 people sitting at a table.
I mean, that
It's
sounds appealing.
whatever. Sounds appealing, right?
Yeah.
Well, that
sounds better than the method now.
Right. So that's one of the ideas that I've had. And hopefully through committee service, because I've been so far put on 2 committees, and I'll see if I've applied for a few more.
What are the committees?
The technology committee here in Los Angeles for the Los Angeles local, and the organizing committee. So organizing committee is, of course, geared towards procuring new jobs, new work, organizing shows that aren't union and getting them to go union.
Nice.
And then technology is a brand new committee that was created this year, right after the election at the first LA board meeting, which is focused towards further developing the tools that we have as a union to get our members more jobs and to help prevent them from being as exploited as they are in the tech world out there for actors. You guys all know how casting sites run and how, you know, there's different tools and things that are available. Oh, but only at a, you know, minimal subscription cost for people, which, you know, if you're getting co-stars and guest stars on shows and you probably got the money, you don't care. But the brand new actor that's coming into the business and trying to figure his way out, you know, that's, some of those things are out of reach.
Are you when you say that, are you talking about like finding a way to make, let's say, Actors Access or LA Casting free for people in a sense?
There have been proposals for those sorts of things. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about all that stuff.
Aren't they a business? I mean, don't they set the rates? Or
Yeah, because they're not really technically part of SAG.
That is true. Discount.
So
maybe if you're a SAG member.
They do that for like IMDb Pro. It has like a discount.
So does Actors Access.
Oh, that's right. They do. That's right.
Yeah.
LA Casting's the only one that's.
There's ways for us to forge those kinds of relationships, and there's, you know, ways for us to try to prevent the exploitive nature of some of those things from catching on. And we're hoping that as we develop our technological abilities, that we can start to cut into some of that.
So how do you guys feel you can actually get more work for people? Like, what's an actual like method?
The brunch.
Just make more things SAG, and then people would have more work.
I mean, there's more opportunities.
That's one way, but that's one way. And in doing that, you know, another thing we were talking about is some of the contracts that we have that currently exist. People can't stand the fact that, you know, you go and we have contracts that under the union you can go and get paid $125 to act for a day, which a gentleman made a great point at one of our meetings, which was, look, I paid $3,000 to join the union. I don't want to work for minimum wage. Mm. Why did I pay $3,000 to join this union if I got to work for minimum wage? So I understand that. And looking for ways to improve those contracts and organize more work are ways that we can help to get more jobs for people.
It's a double-edged sword because, like, yeah, $125 a day is not a lot, but then, like, those productions that are small that don't really have a lot of money, they won't be able to hire SAG actors if it's not. You know what I'm saying?
The question, though, is in a situation where you get like a SAG modified low budget, something where everybody's working for $125 a day, except for this guy who we paid $50,000 to be here for 2 days.
Right.
That's not right.
Yeah.
You know, that I understand.
Well, it's Eric Roberts.
Yes, I know. It's Eric Roberts.
Actually,
right?
he's only $5,000 a day.
All right.
No, but I understand the thought of, well, this guy's a celebrity and maybe he'll bring some money to our project or something like that.
Right.
But to me, if you're going to stand in solidarity with all your union brothers and sisters, you got to think, you know, why do I need, if I'm Eric Roberts, do I need a $5,000 day?
Yeah, you probably do.
Or else he's not going to do it.
Well, he's not. Well, we don't need to get into it.
No,
Johnny's worked with him. Great guy.
Yeah, he's fine.
I'm sure he's a good guy. I have nothing against him, and I'm saying, and people have their quotes and they establish them over years, and you want to honor that too.
Right. Well, that was the thing is like, but all of Hollywood is like that, so you can't really. I mean, what can you really do about that? You can't be like, hey, me and Johnny Depp are in the same movie. Why aren't we getting paid the same?
No, not about getting paid. It's not about getting paid the same. But think about this: if there's 10 people in a film, 10 people in a film, and they have the production has $6,000 per day to go towards talent. They give $4,000 to one actor who's coming in for that day because that's the star name, that's the stunt cast they could get for that day, and everybody else makes $125. What if that guy makes $2,000 for the stunt cast?
He's not doing it.
Great, get somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but nobody else is available.
I mean,
get a new guy, some new blood.
Again, the point is, it's not all about just setting rules. It's also about going out there and talking to people. When we were doing the commercials contract, we went out. There's a group called Union Working. I don't know if you've heard of these guys and ladies. Great folks, all of them. They are a grassroots anti-political group in our union who pushed forward a lot of ideas during the commercial contract.
Troublemakers, it sounds like.
Yeah, rebel rousers. And they went out and basically just started working their network of celebrity people they'd worked with over the years, and they got messages. You know, they got people like John Hamm and Stephen Root and J.K. Simmons to come in and shoot videos about how important it was to remain in solidarity with the union, how important it was for them, how important the commercial actor, the blue collar actor, the guy that's not a star is, and they put those messages together to put out to the advertising companies to say, look, we're not backing down on this contract. When we were striking, same thing. We're not going to back down. This is what's important to us. And you got the celebrity names in there to do that. Didn't cost them anything, and they were willing to do it. Same sort of thing with this situation. If you can just reach out to those people who are making that stunt cast fee for that day and go, look, we're not against you making the money, but these other people that are coming up behind you that are trying to build their careers, they can't eat on $1.25 a day, not in Los Angeles, California in 2019. So,
True.
It's that sort of thing.
It's true.
Interesting. I
I
like it.
I feel it.
I didn't realize you were this passionate. I mean, I knew you were running, but I didn't realize that you were this involved.
Well, he's also drinking, so
Yeah, it's going to get real good here.
the truth gets out.
Did you?
No, it's cool.
Did you vote for our current SAG president?
Ooh,
Who is that?
you're not allowed to ask those questions, dude.
Oh, you're not.
Why is this not?
Well, I just remember
Who's he voted for? It's his business.
I forget her name. If I heard
Her
her
name's Gabrielle Carteris.
That's
Yeah,
right.
but she was already the president,
Is she
right?
No, I voted for the. I voted for
Is
the.
she an authoritative leader? I mean, you can't say you didn't vote for her.
I don't. Hey, you
You know,
don't have
I
to
think
answer
there's
that.
a fine American tradition of people's votes being their own, is
Oh.
what he was saying.
See?
Yeah,
Oh,
There you go, dude.
that's true. So we know that you didn't.
No,
Is
you
that-
don't. No, you don't.
You don't have the answer.
I'll say this because this is exactly what I did throughout the entire campaign. I remained extremely anti-political because what I hate right now and I don't understand in our union is there are two political parties that go at each other and go at each other's throats. And it-
wait, within the union?
like liberal and conservative. Like,
no, not liberal and conservative. This is
Liberal
what is
and liberal.
ridiculous about it. Yeah. Hardcore liberal and hardcore liberal. No. So there's these two groups, and one's called Unite for Strength, and the other one's called Membership First, right? And basically, the key to being elected to any position is being in one of those two. And you have to be.
You can't run independent?
You sure can. I did.
Oh, okay. But you don't have the strength of members first behind you.
You don't have a postcard that goes to every mailbox of the 70,000 members in the Los Angeles local that has the pictures of the stars of Membership First or Unite for Strength, and then all of the other names on the back. And both of those groups say, vote only for our people and none of the other people.
and the group's ideologies, like how are they different?
Okay, well, see, here's the thing. Unite for Strength wants better contracts and good working conditions. And
good
to
to me.
strengthen our solidarity. While Membership First wants to strengthen our solidarity with good working conditions and better contracts.
So
Very different.
So you get
The
it.
difference.
Yeah. So, it's obvious to tell.
Yeah.
Now, if you talk to people that are in either party, the differences are huge. They're vast. And it's basically because a lot of the personalities really don't mesh. They don't like one another.
Why do we even have these two parties for? What's the point?
It all goes back to before the union, basically, or before the merger, right? There have been a number of parties in our union over the years. There's a book called Politics of Glamour. If you want to read it, go for it. But it'll start to teach you a lot about the governance and how things have gone over the years. But leading up to merger, a lot of the folks who are currently involved with Membership First were in leadership, and they were against merger. The people who are in Unite for Strength were for the merger. And you will find a lot of people who were in AFTRA governance and things like that before the merger are also in Unite for Strength. And USAN, which is like the New York branch of it. Unite for Strength is LA. So once merger happened, once basically Unite for Strength was able to take control of the board and help get merger through, which, by the way, I voted for. It makes sense to me. Didn't make sense to not. And I'm sure there's people that would still decry it to this day. But to me, we should all stand together as actors and negotiate one contract instead of two competing contracts with the same producers. Doesn't make sense to me. So once that happened, well, ever since then, Unite for Strength has been in charge, right? So ever since 2012, we've had the same leadership. So over here you have Membership First, who was basically ousted, and then they will say that Unite for Strength has caused the degradation of contracts over the last 7 or 8 years. Unite for Strength will say that Membership First loused everything up, and that's why we needed merger, and so they've been slowly rebuilding. They don't like one another. They all want the same thing. And there's great people in both parties. But what I've noticed is folks like me, and if you guys get involved, and if any of the viewers or listeners here decide, oh, man, I want to get involved in this because I want to know what's going on in my union, and I want to be a part of the change, and I want to help move it forward, they will learn very quickly when they step in the door that one of the facets is if you don't join one of those two, it's less likely that you're going to get into a position to be able to make a change other than grassroots, which for me, I love grassroots, involved with it. But the people who are just coming in go, all right, well, I'm going to go with this side or I'm going to go with that side just because I want to get on a ticket and they've offered me because I happen to have a good lunch with that guy and he thought I was cool and now I'm in their party. Yay.
Paid for lunch.
Right. Now I'm in their party. Now all I hear is how the other side is terrible. So now all I start to develop this concept of these people
Poison.
are bad. Yeah, they're poisonous to the union and blah, blah, blah. But we are righteous and we are good. And it builds more of the same crap that goes on in
that's like
everyday America.
It's like a microcosm for just the national
Absolutely
political system.
it is, which is ridiculous. Like you're not sitting here. I'm not sitting across the table when I'm at with Unite for Strength or Membership First. It's not like I'm pro-gun and you're vehemently anti-gun, and you're saying you're going to want the children to die in the schools, and I'm like, no, I just want to protect myself from the government coming to get my guns. Like, that's not what it is. It's I want better working conditions. So do I. You yell a lot,
And nobody wants kids to die.
but nobody does.
Nobody does.
Well, I went dark.
That's true. No, I'm just saying. Like,
Just kidding.
it doesn't make any sense to me.
I was joking.
I know.
But no, I had no idea they even existed.
So you
That's
did.
interesting.
So you did vote for our current president? I'm just kidding.
Austin really wants to answer that question.
That's
No, it doesn't matter. I was just.
Our current of the
SAG.
Okay.
If you did,
Because I did not vote for our other current president.
Oh, I went third party.
If you did get elected,
I did too.
do you get? Is that a paying role? Do you
No.
get paid?
No.
So what's the perk?
For me,
I know you're doing it for a good reason and that stuff like
Yes,
that. But
it's
are
almost
there
better
perks?
that they don't get paid, right?
the biggest perk for me, and this comes from someone who is extremely arrogant, is that I can really trust at least one of the people in the room. Like, honestly,
that's fair.
that's a huge perk for me because I would get to be involved in where my union goes. I love being a part of this union. I've been very
Should have wore the shirt today, dude.
SAG-AFTRA.
I got the free shirt somewhere.
I got a mug that I drink
What?
a lot of coffee out of.
Wow, it's messed up, dude.
Just saying.
I was thinking you're gonna bring a SAG gifts over here.
I brought you whiskey.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
It's the best SAG gift.
Anyway,
But yeah, people in our audience, everybody who knows Ben now probably knows him as the righteous grassroots leader that we just talked about. But we know Ben as an actor.
right?
I'm about to say that they're all asleep right now. They're like, what's this guy been talking about for half an hour?
They're like,
Shut up.
wow,
No, this is interesting.
scared me. I'm never joining SAG now.
Well, you can't because it's SAG-AFTRA. Oh, man. Get it right, Johnny.
Sorry, man. It's too long.
There
Too long.
are people that will crucify you for that. And it's like, I'm sorry.
Who
I've
cares, man?
been in the union for a long, long time.
That's what it says when on the casting. SAG.
It does in a lot, right?
Yeah. Anyway,
It's because we still have some separate contracts.
so
I'll take one
So
more.
we-
Yeah,
so
you-
let's-
Aaron was talking about.
Not
Let's
that
talk
much.
about Ben's acting career. So we
Yeah.
met this guy. Obviously, you can tell just by looking at him. This guy probably books work. I mean, this guy's casting
guy's
unbelievable.
a booking animal.
I am what you call it, everyday American.
Yeah. So we've done scenes with this guy, but like,
All-American?
tell the folks at home some of the stuff that you've done.
take some.
Because you've done a lot of cool stuff.
Superior Donuts.
I did do Superior
Who
Donuts.
friend of the show, Dan O'Shannon, was a co-producer on
Oh, excellent.
Oh, really?
for like a season.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Which
cool.
season?
Relatively, how many seasons of this?
2. It went 2. So either first season and I never met him, or second, maybe I did.
I would assume one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. We don't know.
But I think he just came on for a few eps.
So what was your role on that?
I was.
This is a network show.
Was you like a hipster?
I was
Barbershop.
First of all, I had
That's
a
right.
name.
Hipster Dan?
My name was Denver.
That's a
Close.
cool name.
Yeah, I
dude.
know. It never got spoken in the episode, which I was like, oh, that's sad because I got there and the dressing room, Denver. I was like, oh, that's fucking
Nice.
that's cool. I was a professional beard washer.
That's right.
Yeah, not stylist, not
Just a
it's
washer.
beard washer. Yeah, we my shop was rated the #1 beard washery in Chicago.
Now, did you go method on that in preparation, or?
Yeah, well, this I never had this beard before that day.
Yeah, yeah.
I started growing it out that morning, and
And you washed it.
Yeah, and I washed it exactly. That was a fun one because Jeff Greenberg was a casting director on that, and I remember going to the office, looking around. And it's funny because I rarely go into a place and I look around and kind of go, oh, look, there's a bunch of me here. That rarely happens. Usually I get the call for there's me.
Because you have a unique look. I mean, not a lot of people look like you.
Right. I usually go and it's like me, and then somebody who's like Johnny's size and complexion with way more tattoos, and then a giant black guy. And I'm like, okay, so we're just going for just which one of these convicts do they want? Right? Cool, we can play that game. But I go in this one time and I was like, it's okay,
Nothing but dukes
bearded
there.
hipster guy, bearded hipster guy. Sweet, let's do this. But I wore a vest. Honestly, I think the vest booked the role.
Classic
stand out.
hipster move.
Yeah, I did it. I wore the vest. And
at your audition, did you know that you killed it? I mean, did you feel good after?
I felt real good about it. But I think I just felt good about the material, period, and just being able to play around and have fun. So,
Did you improv in the audition?
nope.
Okay.
Stuck to the script and you killed the written word. You killed it.
I must have.
Yeah.
I played it well. I think they gave me a second take, but I don't recall it.
And do you do anything special when you audition for that kind of stuff? Clue us into your technique or your insight when you
Strategy.
Your strategy going in.
Okay.
Bring whiskey to the audition.
Bring whiskey to the audition and just pass it around and go, hey guys, we're gonna have a good time. That's all that matters. Just here to have fun.
That'd be a bold move.
Honestly, that might work.
If I was casting, I'd be like, who is this fucking guy? Get in here, man. Get in here.
A nice bottle, you know. That's...
Wish you were here at the beginning of this thing.
Yeah, I am late in the day a lot. No, I just go through my preparation, and I'm working now with Joseph Perlman, who I love, the teacher, great teacher.
I have audited that class.
Zoe Deschanel.
Very good.
Went through that class.
Yeah.
That's what I see on the pamphlets.
It's an on-camera type thing, or
His class is unique in what I've seen, and that's so you basically you work every class, and you don't have a scene partner or anything like that. You basically just bring in what you're working on. Either it might actually be a live audition that you have coming up a couple days later or whatever.
and you could bring a scene, or it's just what you're working on.
Yeah, no, you can bring whatever you want into the class. It's up to you, and you're going to hand it off to whoever you want to read it, and you have them read the other role, and then you do your work. And but Joseph always asks, which I like, which is, how do you want to work on this? What is this? What are we doing? I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to be. I'm going to work on this like a pre-read. I'm going to work on this like a table read. I'm going to work on like a booked role. Because depending on where you are in the process, you might have just had your second callback for a feature or something like that, and the next thing is going to be let's say a what is it, a synergy read or whatever,
Chemistry.
Yeah, chemistry read between you and the other actor.
Synergy is more of the corporate culture.
Yeah. Chemistry read. So you might want to prep it like a booked role for that situation. So you drop your script, you don't have it on there, and you do the whole thing just like you're playing a scene out. Whereas maybe somewhere where you have issues is going into a room cold. Like you don't perform well walking into a room and doing an audition. All right, I want to read this. I want to do this like it's a first audition going on tape for the casting office or whatever, and he'll build the session around that.
And you would recommend Joseph Perlman class to a friend?
Oh, absolutely.
I
I do recommend it to people.
And use Ben's code and get a discount.
You'll see it flashing on the bottom of the screen.
That's right.
Cool.
But yeah, so basically his technique centers around, or I say his technique, but what he teaches centers around basically living in your character's skin and finding what it is that's driving that character at that moment that's going to kick off kind of the scene, as it were. And I listened to the podcast, and Johnny was talking about a teacher he's been working with out of New York, who's like, figure out what this is and kind of a proverb or what the nut of the scene is, and then play that. Very similar idea.
He calls it a hook, right?
That's what Joseph calls his a hook. And the funny thing is, the number of times I've gone through it, and my hook is completely unrelated to anything in the script. It's unrelated to anything. It's completely out of my imagination.
And give us an example of a hook. It would be a sentence,
like a verb or
a phrase.
So suck on this was one.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah, exactly. And it was weird because I can't remember exactly which scene that was from, but he's asked, okay, and if you were, where would that be coming from? Where is that coming from? And I was like,
well, where else would it be coming from?
Tip of my,
yeah.
and he's like, I love it. So let me see that. So then I sat back in my chair,
Unzipped your pants.
No, I didn't unzip my pants. But I had a stance so that, if it was talking, this is where it would be, and then it was like, that's how I kicked it off. And I kept saying that phrase over and over. And then when we started the scene, I was in a place, like emotionally I was in a place and my body was in a place and the scene flew, and that's kind of the same sort of thing. I loved your example where you're like, I got here first. I was here first.
It's simple to play.
That's right.
But everybody knows that.
Everybody
like,
knows
hey, I was here first.
Yeah.
That's it.
And so,
but I think it works. Like, that sounds really cool. I think that works a lot because I think a lot of times actors try to like complicate things. Mm-hmm. And if you just simplify it to like one little thing, you're like, all right, the character just wants this or just playing this the whole time throughout the whole scene. It just carries you in different ways.
I think the problem with me is I often choose as my phrase, I want
get check.
I want to get. I want to get the role. I want to book this.
To book the role.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, I mean, for actors out there that walk in the door like that, that's a huge problem.
She's like a lot of desperation in that take, huh?
Because it's not really a performance.
I need this.
Yeah.
It's bad. So you get on set, you're playing Denver,
Mm-hmm.
and something I like to do when I get on different sets, especially like SAG network sets, seeing how how they run. Was that a high functioning set? Was everybody happy to be there?
Yes, it was a lot of fun, and so much so that even you have a few days of rehearsal, you're doing your different things. Oh yeah, and
that was a sitcom, right?
Yeah, it was multicam. So you got a couple of days that you're there. I think I got cast the day of the table read, so I didn't get to go to the table read. They cast me. I was on the next day, and then the second day I was there, the script had changed, and I got like more stuff, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." Apparently, I'm not doing a bad job. But
they gave you another line.
Yeah, like they expanded. I was in a scene, and then I was in two scenes, and it expanded.
Oh,
it was neat. But watching David Koechner, and
he's so good.
Oh, he's good.
Just watching him kind of go through his thing of how do I want to say this and how would I play and how would this happen to this character? Not how would I play it, but more like how would he embody this? How is this moment going to affect him? And it was him and Katie Seagal, and they were going through this. And I'm just sitting there going, this is awesome. Just sitting back and watching and learning these guys. And then he comes over at Crafty and he's just chatting with you. We were talking about like the Chiefs game or something that was going on, and his son was on set, and he ended up pulling a gag on his son while he was on set.
Classic David Koechner.
I like him in Cheap Thrills. Did you ever see that
I
movie?
like him in The Office.
Oh, what?
The Office? Isn't he in?
Yeah, he did a small part for one.
Yeah, he was a guest star.
Okay.
He was so good in the guest star.
You're thinking of Steve Carell, dude.
The most.
Did Katie Seagal remember you from your small part on Sons
Who's
of
Katie
Anarchy?
Seagal? Who's
she was not
Married
there
with
that
Children.
day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She was on Sons of Anarchy as the wife.
Yeah, Sons of Anarchy, Married with
I
Children.
didn't see that one, but I know Married with Children.
Also Futurama.
That's right. Yeah.
She played the cartoon.
Married to Kurt,
right.
Kurt Sutter. And now on Mayans.
Yes.
Is she? I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I figured.
If she's Latino.
I haven't seen it. I am boycotting it until they call me in.
Mayans? Dude, I've never been called.
They need it.
so
They need it. It's all. They need a token white.
Yeah.
There's white people on the show.
Ben could be on
Token
that
white
show.
biker looking guy. Yeah, why not?
That's true.
That's a good point.
I'm not just the lovable union leader. I can also pick up a gun and ride a motorcycle.
Yeah. Anytime where you start the sentence with "I can pick up a gun," you're gonna cast me.
That's right. I have one here.
What was it like working on Sons?
That was a fun day.
Dude,
I
love that. I love
day.
that show.
It
too.
I was a big fan of that show.
It was hot that day.
What was your part?
I was a member of the.
Sons of Anarchy?
I was a member. It was hard. It was a tough casting. It's
like
not something I was exactly
the
right
Aryans.
for. Aryan Brotherhood. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't even know how they could see that.
I don't
at
know
all,
how
dude.
they saw it.
Play what you know.
Yeah. Right.
Just kidding.
But
Just kidding.
no, it was a fun day, and
You brought the Confederate flag to the audition. Attaboy.
That's how I did it. I wore Confederate flag jeans. That day.
Really?
No. Don't even know where you would get those.
You sew them on yourself.
Texas. But I love Texas. Don't be mad at me, Texas. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I remember Charlie Hunnam that day had been sick. And he was asking.
Do you have some tea?
Takes.
Some honey.
Dude, he's from.
He's English.
Yeah, but you're doing proper English.
I know. Because he's got more of a Cockney.
Yeah.
Newcastle.
Whatever, dude.
Would you like some tea, Governor?
Yeah, it was random. He had been sick, and then he came over
Oh, my throat hurts.
during like he came over during like a stop down, And he was talking to us, and he's like, "Hey," he goes, "you guys make sure you got your off." And he like calls the
Sorry, what, a
makeup
stop
lady
down?
over. Yeah.
What is stop down?
What is a stop down?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like when they're changing their setups between shots.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so he came over during the stop down, and he calls the makeup lady or makeup artist over, and he's like, "Hey, do you have some bug spray for these guys? I want make sure we get." And I'm just kind of looking at him like, what's going on? And I guess he had recently had a bout with like Lyme's disease or something because he had
You
a
never
tick bite.
get that out of you.
Yeah, or something akin to it. But came from a insect
Bug
bite,
bite,
and he's
yeah.
like, "Don't mess around with this stuff." And so we're all just like, "All right," and just spraying this off on us like crazy. He's a cool dude. friendly.
Allegedly, I'm sure he's perfectly healthy now, ladies. Okay.
And then he was snickering in the corner. I got those guys.
I got those guys. They fell for my tricks.
Okay. No, that dude's really good. I like that guy a lot.
He's cool, man. He was really
He's
nice.
got some good movies.
It was also nice to see them have to keep moving the motorcycles up like 8 feet and then back 8 feet and up 8 feet and then back 8 feet for shots over and over and over. And you start to go, wow, this is movie magic.
Wow, can we not green screen this guy?
There's real bikes in these?
Yeah, right.
That's cool, man. So who else did you work with on the show?
I forget his name.
Ron Perlman.
No, Ron's
Was he dead
dead.
already at that
Yeah,
point?
It was last season. It was the final season.
Oh, okay,
was it?
cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That final episode then, man, I didn't really...
didn't do it for you.
Talking about Game
That
of Thrones.
ended. The ending. Never seen Game of Thrones.
I know.
So...
I know.
Easy there, dude.
I'm sweating.
This guy's upset. There's no Game of Thrones.
Now, do you have when you're on sets, because you're a smart actor, Ben, I get that from you.
Oh God.
Like, so you're obviously the number one goal, do a good job, don't get in anybody's way, do a great job with
Don't
that.
get in
That's
anybody's
the number
way.
one goal.
That's one of the, I'm saying besides that,
Okay.
do you have like a goal of like making a connection with actors or directors or the producers you respect? Is that a strategy?
I am terrible at that. I really am.
You seem like you would be good.
Yeah, you seem like you're a great guy to talk to.
I like to have fun, and I think it never is a goal, right? I had a weird one when I did What If. The first night.
And for the folks at home.
What is What If?
Netflix show?
What If's a Netflix show. Renee Zellweger, Jane Levy.
Oh
starred
yeah,
this
that one.
Yeah. So I had a cool or a weird kind of experience. The first night we did that downtown LA, some seedy little hotel where we were shooting an exterior. And while they're shooting the different exteriors, I end up in a room waiting with it's me and Renee and
Did you recognize her?
Tyler. Yeah, I recognize her.
Great actress.
Believe it or not.
Beautiful. She just looks different.
She's fantastic. She's amazing. She's so sweet. So the three of us sat in this room for half an hour while they're doing other shots outside the door, and we're just kind of all chatting and talking. And she's real sweet, and she's talking about then the fires were all going on right up on the hill, and so she had to evacuate, and so she kept texting friends about how everything's going and all this. And in my head, I'm just going, man, this is a really odd way to meet somebody that you really look up to and have respected for years. And our first conversation is like, oh, your house might burn down. That's excellent. How about that Jerry Maguire, huh? It's
Great movie. Love it.
Hope you don't lose that
You
statue.
came up to her and you were like, you had me at hello.
Yeah, right.
And she's
No.
like,
You didn't quote any of her
No,
lists.
but I tell you what, she was at the very end after we wrapped. It was like a week and a half later we wrapped, and she came over to me. She goes, "And what was your name again?" I was like,
Nice.
"I'm Ben Dukes," and she goes, "Well, the talented Ben Dukes. I'll be looking for it." And I was like, "You
That's
don't have to
awesome.
say that. That's so
I
nice."
thi-
She goes, "No, you're very talented."
That's
and I was
awesome.
It's better than her saying, "What was your name again?" Ben Dukes. Pull my car around, Ben.
yeah, right.
Nice, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's what
she
you
was
want.
really, dude. She was awesome. So
did she give you any advice?
we were talking about the work, right? It was
It's
me
the best thing you can talk about.
and her, right? And she goes, what was the exact wording? It was so funny because she was talking about the difference. Everybody was saying, you're going in to do an episodic now. It's going to be, it's scripts all the time, and it's going to be difficult. Da da da. And she just goes, but honestly, this crew and everything, they've made the work so easy for me. The writers it's been fantastic writing. It hasn't been difficult to get into. I'm really trying to be a responsible actor, but I just don't have to. It's like, oh my God, that's the most amazing thing to hear from somebody. And I think it spoke to kind of the really cool collaborative nature of the show and of our art. And sometimes, we do as actors have to put a lot of work in to try to get every moment that we can mine out of something. But either that or maybe she's just fantastic and she's so many levels above all of us that she looks at a difficult piece of material and she's like, I can do this. She was awesome.
And she finally followed you on Instagram.
Yeah, I wish.
Because like you knew who she was, is that one of your most exciting things that you consider you've done, like acting wise?
I mean, as far as acting, I mean, God, on Spear Donuts is with Judd Hirsch, which, comic legend. That was awesome.
You've also done Craig Ferguson.
Who is Judd Hirsch? Clue me in, guys. Is he the guy from Independence Day?
Yes.
I don't remember.
Is
I
he?
don't know who he is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. He was in Taxi.
Yes. He was the father in Independence Day,
Yeah.
right? He was really funny. The Jewish guy.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to ask the question if you guys don't know.
So, yeah.
Because you recognize the name, but anyway.
Right. So he was great. Yeah, and Craig, God, I owe so much to Craig Ferguson. He was
one of the best late night hosts at the time, and you got to work not only for him, with him, but you were on the show.
Yeah, I got invited on the show as
couple times,
musical
couple different
guest twice, and I was in 2 different show opening bits.
Yes,
and I was
sketches.
in a sketch. Yeah, so he was awesome, and I don't know what it was really. I mean, I remember the moment that he first kind of took notice of me, and that was Christina Applegate was a guest on the show, and I was just doing my job at the time. I was my day job was audience coordinator. Right, so I was kind of standing around in the audience.
And did you know him at all? Like have conversations with him at that point?
I had never had a conversation with him. He had walked past me in the hall and said hello, and we're both, bigger, taller guys, so like just that eye to eye, like, how you doing, young man? Blah blah blah.
Nice.
Keep walking by, and he'd always do his voice like rah, 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 for some reason when he walked by. He's joking around, but so this guy in the audience yells out, and he's like, "Oh, love you, Kelly Bundy," like that, and so
What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
One time's okay. 5 times.
No, it's just a distraction, and like we tell we used to tell the whole audience beforehand, like, don't yell things out, and specifically we'd be like, don't yell out things like, "Oh, I love you," or "I want to have your baby," or stuff
That
like
stops
that.
the show.
Right. So this guy did it. So I threw him out. And
Nice.
it's funny because you see the episode. They didn't cut any of it out, so you hear, "I love you, Kelly Bunny," or whatever, and she just kind of looks up and reacts. And then a few seconds later, Craig kind of opens his eyes big, and she, Christina's kind of like, "Whoa, see ya," and he's like, "They're throwing him out." Like,
You can't just give him a warning?
They're gonna
It feels
chip,
a little
yeah.
excessive. Like, it wasn't like he was like, fuck you.
yeah, you make judgment calls, and in that moment, like this was a guy I'd already had my eye on. Like there other things had kind of happened, so you do that job for a little while, and it's kind of like
You wanted your job.
yeah, right. It's kind of like, bouncers and everything. Like they clock people when they walk in a door. It's like, I'll keep.
So you have a one-strike rule, is that what you're saying?
In that situation, yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with a well-placed woo, right?
Woos are great.
Short, simple.
Especially as long as the whole crowd's doing it.
What if it's just like a woo-woo, you're great?
Pushing it.
You know what? Honestly, I don't have that job anymore. So.
But that was just the first thing, because then you were like, how'd your band? So you were.
Yeah,
He was
so-
familiar with you, but then you got your band. Ben, for those who don't know, an accomplished country musician.
accomplished.
What was the band's
I
name?
like how you stretch that.
You got hey, not a lot of bands get on late night with.
That's true.
Craig Ferguson.
That is pretty good. And twice.
Twice, exactly.
Unless Craig was really hurting. And I was like, oh my God, nobody wants to come.
No, so that was interesting, man, because this will actually segue a little bit into the name of this podcast, Surviving Hollywood Podcast. But so
Is that what it's called?
yeah, so I threw the guy out. Then the next day I come into work and
The guy was there.
yeah, no.
Had messed up your car.
No. The executive producer comes up and he goes, "Where are you going to be during the show?" I was like, I was planning on being where I always am, just kind of like right behind the thing.
Near Crafty.
And he's like, "I want you to be close to the floor."
Nice.
Like, okay. So I'm just standing close to the floor.
But you knew.
No, because in my head I was like, maybe
upset.
there's a new thing and I'm gonna be like the security, blah blah blah. And all of a sudden, during the cold open, they're like, "All right, come on out. You're gonna do this thing." And I was like, "What's going on?" And I went and stood on this mark, and then Craig interrogated me. And then after that, I think he just kind of
So you guys didn't rehearse that. I saw that clip.
no,
We saw the clips.
Funny bit.
yeah.
You both
good.
were good.
It's improv. I kill improv, guys. I don't know if you know this, but I destroy it. No, he was awesome.
Especially when you play yourself.
Exactly. If I
Everybody-
can just be comfortable and live in my own skin.
Everybody can find these clips on YouTube, by the way. Type in Craig Ferguson and try and figure
Ben
out
Dukes.
Ben
Or
Dukes.
just, you can look up, because I'm a narcissist, and so they're on my channel as well.
Perfect.
Hey.
That's what we want.
That's
So
where
go-
that's
yeah,
where he
so
found
go-
it.
What's your channel? What's your channel?
Hunt, I think it's youtube.com/Ben Dukes, pretty sure.
How'd you get that name?
Dad
Got lucky.
Dad bestowed it on me from Germany when I was born.
I meant the
think.
YouTube name.
Yeah. Ben Dukes.
No, he wasn't German. He was just in Germany when I was born. I charged out about 6 weeks early, man. That's how I do things. But so anyway, so he invited me on, and he did all that, and then
You
nervous?
discovered you were a singer.
well, they found out somehow. I don't know. I think he followed me on Twitter,
Ooh.
Craig?
which was awesome.
That's Twitter was
Is
new
he,
back
is
then.
he still following you?
Yeah.
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah. So Craig started following me on Twitter, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome!" And we started, talking back and forth
In the
a
DMs?
little bit, time or two. But so
You up?
then, I'm sitting here in Scotland right now, and I'm thinking about you.
Sounds just like him.
But he then they put me in one of the openings, playing guitar as a French guitarist, and that was fun. And then it was February of 2012, and I remember this distinctly because I moved out here in January of 2002.
10 years later.
10 years in 1 month, and that's important because everybody kept asking me, how long are you going to give this Hollywood thing? How long are you going to do it if you're not a huge star? And I left acting in the mid 2000s to start pursuing music, to start really going after music, or let's be honest, pissing around trying to do music. And then I really started to go after it later in 2011. So in 2012, in February, he hits me up. Now, if I had agreed with everybody and said, I'll give it 10 years and then I'll go home and I'll go back to Georgia and I'll live a life and, probably find a lovely young lady and get married and do all that kind of stuff.
And resent her?
Resent her forever. Resent my kids who kept me from living my dream. No, if I had done that at 10 years in,
You'd be super happy.
no,
I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't have gotten the call in February. But I was standing there outside CBS, and I get this phone call, and I look down, and it's the executive producer, and I was like, "Oh crap, what's going on with the show? I don't know what's up." Hello, and it was actually his assistant, and she's like, "Hey, Dukes." I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Michael had a question for you." I said, "What?" She goes, "Do you and your band want to play the show?" And I almost fell over. Like it was just that moment of like,
And
what
you were
in the
like,
world?
no.
And my buddy's standing there looking at me. He's like, "Dude, what's going on?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be great." And she's like, "Okay, cool. We need you to get us a CD, and we'll pick a song, and we'll do all this." And I was like, "Sounds great. I love it. Thank you very much. That's fantastic." And I hung up the phone, and he was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Craig just invited me to do the show." And he's like, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "What do you got to do?" And I said, "Well, I got to make a CD." So I didn't have any music whatsoever.
Yeah.
I had some that we had recorded and put on MySpace, and it's ridiculous, right? I put stuff on MySpace.
Was
back in the
Craig
day.
on your top
I mean,
eight?
that was the hot thing to do back then.
Well, it wasn't. It was no longer around at that point, right? But
I see.
that's all I had done. Is a buddy of mine had recorded a song that I wrote after my dad died. And I put it on MySpace, and that thing got played like 20,000 times. And then I shot a stupid video with a Sony Handycam and sent it to GAC, and it got played on GAC.
Whoa.
Right? Crazy, which is Great American Country for anybody who doesn't know. It's
Of course.
CMT competition. But anyway, it got played on that. And that was when I was like, oh, I should just do music instead of acting. Let me go to music. And that had been in 2007. So that's why I started doing music, and that hadn't really gone anywhere until this moment.
So did you just bang out like a whole album like really fast?
We did a 6-song EP in a weekend.
Wow.
So when you performed, that was your band, or you just hired those guys to play with you?
Those guys were guys that were from the local country music scene. So I played around in bars and things like that, but I just didn't have an album. I would go and do open mic nights and play, my own nights just as a singer-songwriter. But I didn't have a constant band.
Were you nervous when you went on Craig Ferguson and performed?
I'll tell you what, it was awesome. No, I wasn't.
A little.
No, I wasn't, and here's why. Because I got there that day, and I was a little kind of like, oh my God, this thing is awesome. This is going to happen. And by the way, in that moment, you have all these things in your head like, I'm a star now.
Yeah,
This
dude.
is going to happen. This is
Yeah.
going to kick it off. And apparently, that's not how it works. But in my head, it was like, I am now going to be a star. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I think anybody
I would
who-
have thought that too.
Anybody who performs on a late night show, I just figured they made it.
Right. Well,
Or
and-
they're already like known.
Yeah.
Like it's like already like a thing.
right.
If
Yeah.
this was Carson, yes.
Okay.
And so I get there and I get to the dressing room, and there's a mug in there from Craig Ferguson show mug or whatever. I'm like, oh, that's cool, and I spin it around and there's a note from Craig. Dukes, don't fuck it up. It's just like, that's awesome.
That's cool.
And so right then, like, that's all the nerves are gone because you just got this, because it feels peer to peer. It feels like this guy validated me. Here's the respect. I'm not just tossing this to some cat.
Right.
I think your music's good.
He wouldn't have asked
like
you if he didn't believe in it.
Exactly. And then he asked me back, which was the most amazing thing. A year later, I'm playing the show again, and it's like, this guy, he digs what I do, and he thinks, when he introduced me, he called me a spectacular American artist, and I was like,
yeah,
that's what I am, and that's why I came here, and that is that thing, that is that validation.
So after you played the show, what kind of response did you get? Because you just like you said, and I thought too, like, boom, that's going to elevate your career.
Well, here's what's funny. I was homeless at the time.
Wow.
So
that's in your car.
I don't know if that's funny.
Where were you living?
I was living in and out of my truck. I had a good job. I had a decent job, or a good job that paid me well enough to survive, and I could have had an apartment. But if you rewind about 6 months back, I made a decision that I was going to stop spending extraneous money on anything other than stuff that was going to propel my career forward. And I broke up with a girlfriend that I was with at the time. And so in that moment, I was like, well, I don't want to pay rent for this apartment that's way up in Van Nuys. So I just moved out of that apartment, stopped paying rent. And I said, I'm going to take all the money that I would pay on rent, put it into rehearsal studio time, put it into, instruments and other things, and develop my music. And a few months later, I'm playing Craig Ferguson.
Crazy commitment, because I would think a place to live is a necessity.
Yeah, you would think that. And I had, but what I did was I had enough friends.
You've obviously never lived in a van, dude.
Down by the river?
Yeah.
Luckily at that point, I've been living here 9-10 years. So I had enough friends that I could be like, hey, do you mind if I crash, at your place tonight? And I would never stay longer than 2 nights. And so
perfect.
I had a 24-hour fitness, lifetime membership.
Free showers, dude.
Yeah.
Lifetime?
Right? Well,
you signed up early then.
I signed up in 2004 and bought 3 years, and then after that it was $49 a year. So I was like, great, no problem.
Damn, that's super cheap.
So people pay a month now.
Yeah, I know. It was a year.
People pay that a month, and they still have the annual fee of $49 a year. So you just have the annual fee.
Yeah, well, it's now gone because I forgot to change my debit card when my debit card number
so
changed.
They didn't deduct it?
That's what they count on.
They didn't deduct it, and they canceled my plan. I was like, no, I'll pay it right now. And they're like,
sorry.
No, you got to go on a new plan.
Yeah.
So I don't have that anymore. But that was how I worked it out. I would go around to friends' places, and then I would go work out. And I would shower there and do all that kind of stuff. So the night that my show aired, I was actually just sitting in an office at work by myself, watching the show on TV. And it was a weird thing because it was a moment of, holy crap, this is this cool validation going on. And people are pinging me on Facebook and people are texting me and, oh my God, you've made it. And I was sitting in this room going, this is about as lonely as I could be. It was so weird.
That's crazy.
It was such a weird moment. But then some things started selling and I started putting myself out there to festivals, and I got in South by Southwest and Texas Country Fest and a couple other festivals. We went on tour and we did an album and all that kind of stuff. So it did lead to some cool stuff. And because of all that, I was like, hey, I've got some time. Why don't I start acting again? And I did Sons of Anarchy, and then I took a photo of myself, and while I was at Sons of Anarchy, because I looked particularly rednecky, and I self-submitted to Days of Our Lives for this backwoods, local was the name of the role.
Perfect for you.
Called me in, got it, and so immediately I'm booking, and I was like, oh, this is awesome, and ended up talking to a manager that I had met a few years before and said, hey, I'm restarting my acting career. Would you ever be interested in working with me? She's like, I've been wanting to work with you for years.
Still with her?
Whatever. Still with her now. Absolutely.
Nice.
Bohemia Group. Love them.
Did
Susan
you
Ferris.
Did you ever hit up, I forget what year he retired, but you ever did Craig Ferguson keep up?
Because he had the radio show on Sirius for a while, or XM or something.
And he's doing the Hobo Fabulous tour right now. And
is that a comedy tour? Or
yeah. Stand up.
He's a really funny stand up.
Yeah. We don't keep up. I wish we did. I talked to some people that are still in his circle, but yeah.
But I'm just saying, once you were touring, I feel like, he would definitely want you back.
Well, he did. He invited me back.
Yeah,
I came back right after my tour and played the show again, and that was a lot of fun. And then they actually had me do host a test episode of that show when they switched the stages, because they moved from one stage to another.
Host? You were the
stand-in host. I was the host of the Late Late Show. It's crazy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
talk to the skeleton?
I did.
Do you think the takeaway for the folks at home who want to do what you did? And, no, but seriously, do you think
slide bass backwards into a late night appearance?
Well,
throw people out of places.
That's the Hollywood dream.
Is the key not to give up, or is the key to like keep adapting, which I feel like you did as well?
Well, I did keep adapting, but here's like honestly, if it's like let's drop some nuggets.
Tips and tricks, you know?
It's not even like for me. It's not even tips and tricks. It's really develop a skill set and go for it, because none of this happened until, hilariously enough, I didn't get on The Voice, and I felt like I didn't get on The Voice for one of two reasons. A, I either wasn't prepared enough with my music, or B, my story sucked.
They've never had a star, so no big deal.
It doesn't matter. It's a great show. I love everybody on that show. I worked on 16 seasons of it, so I love those people. But I didn't get on. I was trying, and it was after that, like I came home, and I thought, I'm just not doing enough to try to move myself forward in my career. I'm going to stop doing all the other stuff, the superfluous stuff, and really work on my skill set and work on my, and at the time that was music. And I did. And 6 months later, I was invited on a late night show. Now that's not going to happen for everybody, because there's a wonderful selection of accidental goodness that happened to me, that just happened to be at the right place at the right time and do the thing that I was supposed to do. And it was funny. And as a result, I endeared myself to the host of the show, and then the host of the show liked my music and gave me a shot.
And let me just say, for the people who don't remember, Craig Ferguson at that time was one of the best late night shows. Letterman was good, but he was kind of like getting ready for retirement. Leno, nothing. Like,
He would improv his whole opening monologue.
Craig Ferguson was hot. It was fresh. It was good. It was new. I think he was one of the best.
Dude, I loved him. He was the, and from having the opportunity to sit in his chair and try to do his job,
Hard.
kind of the job that you guys do, interviewing people and being funny with it and being able to, he
kept it conversational. He was
always
good.
kept it going. He would take he would learn whatever notes, or they would give him notes about each guest, and he would tear them up, throw them away, and like, we're just going to talk about whatever we talk about.
Yeah.
And it would always be great. And it was truly incredible to watch the man work in that space. And then it was amazing what he gave me. So, but yeah, my thing is work at your skills, and don't think, oh, I have to meet this person and I have to meet that person and I need to go to these parties and I need to do all that. Yes, all of that will help, but do it the right way. I've met more people in the last 2 years just being in the acting realm and pushing my work and my talent and going out and being involved at our union. There's so much stuff that our union offers. There's so many casting directors that come in that give speeches and you can sit and talk to, or there's classes you can go to at the conservatory where you can meet working professionals out there in the world. I did a table read the other day because of my connection now to the conservatory and everything, with some people that are developing a show that I hope to God it gets made. But I sat in at the Writers Guild Foundation in their library, just surrounded by all these beautiful scripts of all the shows for all the years, and was exposed to a couple of different writers that were there and a couple of different producers and stuff, and they were exposed to my work. It's not, we were at the same party and I I gave a guy a Tom Collins and he was really impressed by that.
More of an old-fashioned type.
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to impress you. But yeah, I think, that's my big takeaway is do the work, keep working on the work, and you guys, I don't know, can keep trusting in the process. You never know what it's going to be. You guys are further ahead in your short time here than I am in my long time here in a number of ways.
I wish I worked with Renee Zellweger.
But I've done some cool things. I was spoiled. The first big movie I worked on when I got here was Lady Killers with the Coen brothers and Tom Hanks.
I love that movie.
That one?
It's a good movie.
Loved it?
I love that movie, yeah. It was a quirky, weird.
I liked it, but
yeah.
it was kind of.
I liked it.
I don't remember Ben.
I enjoyed watching
It
it.
was
Isn't
before I knew
Marlon
Ben.
Wayans in that too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got spoiled immediately.
It was a remake.
That was my second year here, 2003, I think. And I'm like every day going into work, watching the best people doing this job.
True.
I've never been on a set that functions more smoothly than that set. You could get the sides in the morning, read the sides, look at the storyboards, and you've already seen the movie. Like the story, they match their shots so closely to the storyboards, and then you go in there and they set the shots, and They do them, and you're done every single day at the same time.
You did tell us off mic, though, that Tom Hanks was a real asshole.
I did not tell you that. As a matter of fact, Tom Hanks, on the very first day of shooting...
You said he phoned it in.
Yeah, right. Very first day of shooting, he walked over to me, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Tom." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." Okay. And he goes, "Well, I just thought, we're going to work together for a few months, so we should know each other." I goes, "Well, hi, Tom, I'm Ben," and shook his hand. But every time I saw him, he was really cool. He was really friendly. He bought us all, he bought a coffee bean truck to come to the set like twice a week. He bought lottery tickets for everybody on the crew.
Anybody win?
Yeah.
Okay.
You win like $5 every now and then. But it's just a cool thing. You show up, sign in, here's your ticket.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Very nice.
And then I saw him one day, and my buddy that was crashing on my couch at the time was like, "Hey," when I left for work at 5 a.m, and he's like, "Tell Tom I said hey." I said, "Okay." So I go to set that day. I go to Crafty. Tom's standing there, and I go, "Tom." He goes, "Hey Ben, what's up?" I said, "Well, my friend Matt says hello," and he just kind of looked puzzled. And I go, "You don't know Matt? He's my roommate sleeping on the couch. Just wanted me to say hello." And he goes, "You tell Matt that I said hello right back with all the gusto I could muster." I said, "All right."
Sounds like a classic Tom Hanks.
Dude,
line.
it was just awesome.
And then what was Matt's message back to Tom the next
Matt did not send a message, but when I told him that, when I got home at like 6 o'clock and he was still on the couch, I told him that, and he got up and sprinted around the block with his hands in the air, excited that for one brief moment in history, Tom Hanks was thinking about him.
Tom Hanks is the man.
Dude. Tom's
So
great.
many good movies.
Love him.
Classic, man. Classic.
Dude, how come you don't do obviously, dude, you're booking so much more than 2012 pre-Craig Ferguson, but how come you don't do the music and the acting?
Well, for me, I still write, and I still send songs to Nashville to see if I can get anything cut by anybody, but
You just address the envelopes to Nashville.
I just go Nashville.
Okay, just general.
Yeah, and just you slap the zip code on there and write Nashville, and then you just send it off.
Must be another dreamer.
I sent it to Nashville at Nashville.com, actually. But no, that life, the touring, the music touring life, it's not the life I want. I've got friends that do that, and God bless them. They're road warriors, and they're on the road 200 days a year, and they play tons of dates at great venues and everything, which is amazing. It's just not, as I started to do it, I was like, it's not really the life I want. I enjoy writing, I enjoy singing, I enjoy performing, but in order to build myself up to a place where it'd be like, I'm selling out stadiums and stuff like that, that's just not the life that I want to live. It's not for me. Acting is my thing. I've always loved it since I was a little kid. And
what do you really want to do? Like, what's like the ultimate goal for you?
Play a musician.
For Ben Dukes.
Honestly, this is going to sound kind of odd, but like if I were a long-standing character on a Star Trek series, that would be like literally a dream. I mean, it's not even it's literally a dream come true.
They're rebooting Picard.
I know they are.
Yeah.
I know they are, and I wanted very badly to be a part of it. And I know some things that happen. Some of the things around that story that I would love to have been a part of. I'm not. Who knows? Maybe I'll get on the show at some point.
Probably couldn't get an audition. I could see you being a character on there.
Yeah, who knows?
Austin,
I would even shave for that. I would take the beard off.
So you're a big Trekkie, huh?
Yeah, man. I grew up. My dad was big into Star Trek, and we started watching The Next Generation together. And so
I used to watch that.
My youth was like watching The Next Generation with my dad,
Yeah.
which was awesome. And like I remember SciTrek at SciTrek in Atlanta. This Star Trek exhibit came through once, and my dad was really excited. We went there, and they had the bridge of the Enterprise D, which was the Next Generation bridge, and you could sit there and you could like plot a course and you could fire the phasers, and it was just one of those things where I was completely immersed in this world that didn't exist. And that's just like acting to me, right? It's like I enjoy pretending, I enjoy living in a world of fantasy, and that was imprinted so hard on me, and it was a thing that me and my dad did together. And if you know me and you know the connection that I had with my father, and how much I just adore him for who he was, that picture starts to come clear as to why that meant so much to me. But when I was 13 years old, I ran an international Star Trek fan club.
Nerd.
And major nerd. And I wrote an episode of The Next Generation and sent it to the president of Paramount and to all of the main cast.
And they made it.
They did not.
And you still haven't got a nickel.
They did not, but strangely, some of the elements of that show did show up in later episodes. I'm just saying. It was very poorly written. I've looked at it again recently.
Yeah.
And somewhere halfway through the script, for some reason, I was writing it on WordPerfect, and somewhere halfway through the script,
Word perfect.
font changed. I don't know why. It went from Courier to like Times New Roman, and it's all
Should have wrote it all in wingdings.
I should have written it in wingdings. It would have been like, this guy is impressive. Lock him up.
Yes.
Put him in a padded room.
Aaron and I auditioned for Picard. Did not hear anything back.
But we were on hold.
You guys auditioned to be Picard?
Yeah, they said they're actually going with the main guy.
They're going to go with Patrick Stewart.
They're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
well, he's kind of an established.
I love they put the Pitbull in the show. I'm like, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
You like Pitbull?
Wait, Pitbull's in the show?
No, the Pitbull. He has a Pitbull in the show.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the music artist. I'm
No.
like,
Aaron,
what?
We were Star Wars people, Aaron and I.
Okay.
That's cool.
My brother's
So
a huge
that's why we don't know the.
Did the neck crack get on the mic? That'd be great.
I heard it.
Star Wars is cool. Whatever.
No, Star Trek is good.
Like,
I'm
just
not, I'm not
like
either-
Star Wars
I like them
better.
both.
You were clenching your fists as you said Star Wars is cool.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Oh.
No, I
Gritted his
actually,
They ruined it with the reboots.
I actually stood up and cheered in the theater when we first saw Yoda jump around like a little maniac.
And the prequels?
Yeah.
That was cool. That was a highlight of the prequels.
I didn't love the prequels.
It was
I
a highlight-
loved when
Yoda
Yoda went
fighting
nuts.
was
I was
fun.
like, that's
That
incredible.
was
I
really
stood up
fun.
and applauded. No, I love it. But
And then
yes,
some guy came over like, sir, you got to leave. That's
Yeah.
one strike. You're gone.
exactly. That's one. You gotta go. You're disturbing the movie.
You're disturbing them.
Oh, I was a jerk.
Well, one day, dude. I mean, you got the Star Trek Discovery, right? That's an all-access show.
Yeah, Discovery's out there and Picard's out
Cards
there.
out there.
The Orville? Is that going to be good enough if you get that?
I mean, if I was on the Orville, that'd be amazing.
You'd
It's
tolerate
an incredible
it.
show.
You'd
No,
tolerate
it's not tolerated. There's a number of shows I would love to do. I would love to be on for the entire series.
Any
There's
network
tons
show.
of movies I would love to do. There's a movie I'm writing that I would love to be in. That would be amazing if I could pull that off.
Give us
Rocky.
give us the log line.
The log line of the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Not for you, buddy.
Hey,
No, I don't have a log line for the film yet. But
sometimes on this podcast, we do a little game called Movie Pitch.
Yeah.
So here's your opportunity.
Oh, great. So
Produce it, stream it illegally, or watch it.
Yeah,
All right.
legally.
Sure.
Legally.
And then Johnny's going to pitch one after.
No, I don't have
Great.
one.
On a frontier planet, many, many light years from Earth, a bit of a drifter cowboy type becomes a hero by saving a number of slaves and foiling a nefarious plot.
Sounds like the log line to Star Trek.
I'd watch it.
It's not.
Star Trek Saving the Whales.
It's a space comedy western. Is what I'm writing.
Spaceballs
I-
meets
Look,
Blazing Saddles.
If you ever compare me to Mel Brooks and I can even stay in that fight, oh my God, that would be a blessing. No, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a fun story so far, and as I'm writing it and starting to even to get to know the characters a little better, it's evolving.
And just because you're putting it out in the ether, who would be the leading lady? Like if you had to pick an actress right now.
Oh God, the leading lady in this.
A what type?
Or leading anybody. Who would lead?
Renee Wells. Renee
No, it's almost
Zellweger type.
it's almost a Zoe Saldana type.
Ooh,
Like,
Nice.
yeah,
she's beautiful.
yeah. The lead of
She is.
the lead of the story is probably a Native American type. Don't have a person in
How are you gonna
mind
play it?
yet. I'm not. I'm the second lead,
Oh, okay.
who is the kind of the mentor.
I'm gonna put it out there right now. I'll produce it. I'm
Whoa.
producing.
I like it.
What are you guys doing? You guys.
Hard pass.
Ooh.
I'll come in as the producer.
Ah, see.
All right, we're
Two-
getting this thing made.
There you go.
Tell me when you get Zoe.
I'll take her.
Anyways. All right, Ben.
Yep.
Let's give the audience a call to action. Where can
Yeah.
they find you? Where can they follow
Stalk you.
Oh, where can they stalk me?
What's your MySpace?
And your address.
And my MySpace. Stalk me at Ben Dukes on Twitter and Instagram, and on Facebook. It's like facebook.com/realbendukes, because some guy out there that has my name just grabbed it and never used it.
I saw him on Catfish.
I tell you, didn't have the beard though. Didn't have it.
And what's your Venmo?
I think it's Ben_Dukes.
Anybody who sends him $1, that'd be something.
Yeah,
8 years ago, this man was homeless. Can you not send him $1?
that was 7 years ago.
Okay.
Actually, no, 8, 9, yeah.
I know
That's
you
about
better
right.
than you.
You do.
All right. I love it, man. Thank you for coming.
Thank you
dude.
guys
I
for
really-
having me.
It was
really
a pleasure,
appreciate
man.
it.
This was
A lot of
awesome.
fun.
Yeah.
Best
We got to
guest yet.
finish the bottle though.
Oh, okay.
That's for the next pod.
Cheers.
All right. One more. Salud.
And hey, drink up at home. Thank you guys for watching.
There you go.
Like and subscribe.